Stop wasting your life. Yes, I am talking to you. Wherever you are right now, lying on your bed, sitting alone in your room, holding your phone in your hand, telling yourself you will start tomorrow, pause for a moment, because what you are about to hear is not just another motivational speech, it is a mirror. And if you are brave enough to look into it honestly, you will see the truth about your own life staring back at you. This is not entertainment. This is not background noise while you scroll on another app. This is not something you just watch and forget. This is something you listen to like an audiobook, something you absorb slowly, something you allow to disturb you, because real growth begins when comfort is disturbed. Before we go deeper, take one small action right now. Like this video and subscribe to the channel, not just to support, but because if you truly want to transform your life, you need reminders like this again and again. You need words that shake you, not words that relax you. And this channel is about understanding, not just temporary motivation. Now listen carefully. Most people do not destroy their lives in one dramatic moment. They destroy them slowly, silently, comfortably. Life is not wasted in one big decision. It is wasted in small daily choices. When you say, "I will start tomorrow," when you choose comfort over effort, when you break promises you made to yourself, when you delay action again and again until delay becomes your lifestyle. Think about the last 24 hours of your life. How much of it did you invest in your future? And how much of it disappeared into scrolling, random videos, pointless conversations, overthinking, and distractions that you won't even remember next week? Be honest. There is a young man, 23 years old, full of dreams, who wants to become successful, financially strong, physically fit, respected by his family, admired by society. But every single night he tells himself that today was just a break and tomorrow he will become serious. Tomorrow he will wake up early. Tomorrow he will focus. Tomorrow he will begin. And that tomorrow slowly becomes the biggest lie of his life. Time is clever. It does not shout. It does not warn you loudly. It simply moves. And one day you look back and wonder how 5 years passed so quickly, how you are still in the same place while others moved ahead, how your dreams are still dreams instead of reality. Ask yourself, how fast did the last 5 years go? It feels like yesterday, doesn't it? And yet those 5 years either built your future or quietly slipped through your fingers. You are not behind because you are weak. You are behind because you were distracted. Distraction is the silent killer of potential. Let's do something simple. Imagine you waste just 2 hours every single day doing things that do not improve your skills, your health, your mindset, or your future. 2 hours does not sound like much, but in 1 year that becomes more than 700 hours. That is almost an entire month of your life. Gone. An entire month that could have transformed your body, your knowledge, your income, your confidence. And then you say you don't have time. The truth is not that you lack time. You lack direction. Consider two friends who graduate together with similar abilities, similar backgrounds, similar opportunities. The first friend works his job during the day and spends 2 extra hours every evening learning something valuable, improving communication skills, studying business, reading books, working out, building discipline slowly and consistently. The second friend also works, but after work he tells himself he deserves relaxation, and he spends 3 or 4 hours consuming entertainment, scrolling endlessly, watching other people succeed while doing nothing to improve himself. 5 years later, their lives look completely different. One has grown in confidence, income, and respect. The other wonders why life feels unfair. It was never about luck. It was about daily habits. You think you need motivation, but motivation is temporary. It feels strong on January 1st, when you promise yourself change, when you write big goals, when you feel excited. By January 20th, that excitement fades. Why? Because motivation is emotion, and emotions change. Discipline is a decision, and decisions define your identity. If you act only when you feel inspired, your life will move only when your mood allows it. But if you act based on commitment, your life will move forward regardless of how you feel. An athlete does not train only when he feels energetic. A writer does not write only when inspiration arrives. A disciplined person does not ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" He asks, "Is this important for my future?" And if the answer is yes, he does it. Fear is another reason you are wasting your life. If you are still here, that means something inside you is not satisfied with average. And that is a good sign, because most people hear the truth and scroll away. You stayed. Now let's go deeper. In part 1, we talked about how you are wasting your life silently through distraction, delay, and comfort. But now the real question is, what if you already wasted time? What if you feel like you are late? What if you feel like others are ahead and you are stuck? Listen carefully. You are not behind. You are just unorganized. There is a difference. Many people think they need a new life. They don't. They need a new system, because without a system, motivation dies. Without structure, discipline collapses. Without clarity, effort gets scattered. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people want to get fit. The first person says, "From tomorrow, I will wake up early, eat clean, go to the gym daily, and completely change my lifestyle." The second person says, "From tomorrow, I will walk for 20 minutes and remove one unhealthy habit." After 1 week, the first person feels overwhelmed and quits. The second person continues. After 1 month, the second person adds light workouts. After 3 months, visible change begins. After 1 year, complete transformation. Why? Because he built a system, not excitement. You don't fail because you aim high. You fail because you try to change everything at once and then collapse. Rebuilding your life does not require dramatic action. It requires controlled consistency. Now listen to this carefully. If you truly want to stop wasting your life, you must control 3 things: your time, your environment, your identity. Let's start with time. Most people don't plan their day. They react to it. They wake up and let notifications decide their mood. They let messages decide their focus. They let random tasks control their schedule. And then they say they had no time. But time is never found. Time is created. Example, a man works 9 hours daily. He says he has no time to improve. But when you observe closely, he spends 2 hours on social media, 1 hour watching random videos, and 30 minutes complaining. That is 3.5 hours. Imagine if even 1 hour of that was invested in learning a high-income skill. In 1 year, that becomes 365 hours. Do you know what 365 focused hours can do? It can completely change your income level. It can change your confidence. It can change your network. The problem is not lack of time. The problem is unconscious living. Now let's talk about environment. Your environment shapes your behavior more than motivation ever will. If your phone is next to you while you work, you will check it. If junk food is in your room, you will eat it. If lazy people surround you, your standards will drop. Example, if you sit in a library, you feel like studying. If you sit in a cinema hall, you feel like watching. The place influences the action. So if you want a productive life, design a productive environment. Keep your phone away while working. Keep books visible. Keep workout clothes ready. Remove distractions physically, not just mentally. Because willpower is limited. System is stronger than willpower. Now let's talk about identity. This is the most powerful part. You do not act according to your goals. You act according to who you believe you are. If you believe you are lazy, you will act lazy. If you believe you are disciplined, you will find ways to act disciplined. Example, a person says, "I am trying to quit smoking." Another person says, "I am not a smoker." The second identity is stronger. If you want to stop wasting your life, stop saying, "I am trying to improve." Start saying, "I am becoming someone who values time." Identity changes behavior automatically. Now let's address something painful. Many of you feel guilty about the past. You think, "I wasted so many years." Listen carefully. Guilt is useless if it does not create action. The past cannot be edited, but the next hour can be used wisely. There is a man who failed multiple businesses in his 20s. He felt embarrassed. People laughed. He thought he was behind. But instead of quitting, he asked one question: what skill do I need to master? He spent 1 year mastering communication and sales. That one skill opened doors. Within 5 years, he recovered everything he lost. Time wasted becomes lesson learned if you choose growth, but it becomes permanent regret if you choose self-pity. Another important truth: urgency is powerful, but panic is dangerous. You need urgency without anxiety. You need pressure without fear. If you are still listening, then you are no longer casual. You are searching for change. And now we enter the most important battlefield of all: your mind. Because wasting your life does not start in your schedule. It starts in your thoughts. You can build systems, you can plan habits, you can organize your time. But if your mind is weak, distracted, and controlled by emotions, everything collapses the moment difficulty appears. Let me tell you something most people never realize. Distraction is not the real problem. Escape is. You don't scroll because you love content. You scroll because you want to escape discomfort. You don't procrastinate because you are lazy. You procrastinate because the task feels heavy. You don't delay action because you don't care. You delay because you are afraid of failing. Understand this deeply. The human brain is designed to avoid pain and seek pleasure. And growth feels painful in the beginning. Learning feels uncomfortable. Working out feels uncomfortable. Building something from zero feels uncomfortable. So your brain whispers, let's do something easy instead. And that whisper, repeated daily, becomes a wasted life. Imagine a student sitting at his desk, book open, phone next to him. He reads for 2 minutes. The topic feels difficult. His brain says, just check your phone for a second. That second becomes 30 minutes. Not because he is incapable, but because his brain chose comfort over growth. Now imagine another student in the same situation. The topic feels difficult. His brain says, this is hard. He replies, good. That single word changes everything. Because when you train yourself to see difficulty as growth instead of threat, your identity begins to shift. Mental strength is not about feeling confident all the time. It is about acting correctly even when you feel uncertain. There will be days when you don't see results. Days when your effort feels invisible. Days when you question whether it's even worth it. And this is where most people quit. Let me give you an example. A man starts going to the gym. For the first 2 weeks, he feels excited. By week 3, soreness hits. By week 4, progress is not visible. By week 5, he thinks, maybe this isn't working, and he stops. But what he doesn't realize is that real transformation begins after the phase where excitement dies. The same applies to business, to studying, to skill building. The moment you stop feeling excited is the moment discipline must take over. You cannot rely on feelings to build a powerful life. Feelings change with weather, sleep, mood, and external events. Discipline remains when emotions disappear. Now let's talk about self-doubt. Self-doubt is quiet. It doesn't scream. It asks soft questions like, what if you fail? What if you are not good enough? What if others are better? And instead of answering those questions with courage, you avoid them by doing nothing. But here's the truth. Doing nothing guarantees failure. Trying at least creates possibility. Imagine 2 people standing at the edge of opportunity. One says, what if I fail? The other says, what if I succeed? Same situation, different focus, different future. You must learn to control your internal dialogue, because the voice inside your head shapes your behavior more than any external advice. If you constantly tell yourself, I am not disciplined, your brain will search for proof. If you tell yourself, I am becoming stronger, your brain will search for opportunities to act stronger. Identity drives action. Action reinforces identity. This cycle either builds you or destroys you. Now let's talk about focus. In today's world, focus is rare, and rare things are valuable. Your ability to sit for 1 hour without checking your phone is more powerful than most skills. Deep work creates deep results. Imagine spending 1 fully focused hour daily on a valuable skill. No distractions, no notifications, just effort. In 1 year, that becomes 365 hours of concentrated growth. Most people never experience that level of focus even once a week. That is why they remain average. Focus is a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. But if you constantly interrupt it with notifications and quick dopamine hits, it weakens. And a weak focus creates a weak future. Now let's address something important. Slow progress. The biggest reason people quit is not failure. It is slow results. We live in a world of instant gratification, instant food, instant entertainment, instant replies. But real growth is slow. A tree does not grow in 1 week. A body does not transform in 10 days. A strong career does not build in 3 months. Most people look for comfort. You stayed for confrontation. And now this is the final piece. This is where everything connects, because stopping a wasted life is not just about discipline, not just about focus, not just about habits. It is about vision. If you don't know where you are going, you will always return to where you were. A powerful life is not built randomly. It is built intentionally. Let me ask you something serious. 5 years from today, who do you want to be? Not what do you want to have. Who do you want to become? Do you want to be someone confident, strong, respected, financially stable, disciplined, calm under pressure? Or do you want to still be the person who keeps saying, "I'll start soon"? Because here is the truth most people avoid. If you do not design your future, your habits will decide it for you. And habits without direction create average results. Imagine 2 versions of yourself standing in front of you. Version 1 continued living distracted, inconsistent, comfortable, always waiting for the right time. Version 2 made a decision during this very series to take control, to build systems, to strengthen the mind, to act daily. 5 years later, the gap between these 2 versions will not be small. It will be massive. Different income, different confidence, different body, different network, different respect. And that difference will not come from one big lucky moment. It will come from daily standards. Standards decide destiny. What you tolerate becomes your reality. If you tolerate laziness, laziness becomes your identity. If you tolerate excuses, excuses become your personality. If you tolerate distraction, distraction becomes your future. But if you raise your standards, even quietly, even privately, your life begins to shift. Let me give you an example. A person decides that no matter what, he will never break promises to himself. Not big promises, small ones. If he says he will wake up at 6, he wakes up. If he says he will read 10 pages, he reads. If he says he will work for 1 hour without distraction, he does it. At first, nothing dramatic happens. But internally, something powerful begins. Self-trust builds. And self-trust is more valuable than motivation. When you trust yourself, confidence becomes natural. When you don't trust yourself, even small tasks feel heavy. Most people don't lack ability, they lack self-trust. And self-trust is built by keeping small commitments repeatedly. Now let's talk about relapse, because at some point you will slip, you will miss a workout, you will waste a day, you will fall into distraction, and this is where your future is decided. Average people say, "I failed again. This is who I am." Strong people say, "I slipped, but I'm not stopping." Missing once is human. Quitting completely is a choice. Imagine a man trying to build a business. He faces rejection. People say no. Money becomes tight. For a moment, he feels like giving up. But instead of quitting, he adjusts his strategy. He learns. He improves. He continues. Years later, people call him successful. They never saw the moments where he almost stopped. Your success will not be built in public applause. It will be built in private decisions, late nights, early mornings, silent discipline. Now, I want you to understand something deeply. Your life is not a rehearsal. This is not practice. There is no second version. The days you waste do not return. The hours you ignore do not pause. Every sunrise is an opportunity. Every sunset is a question. What did you do today? You don't need extreme hustle. You don't need to burn yourself out. You need clarity and consistency. Work hard but intelligently. Rest but intentionally. Improve but patiently. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be persistent. Imagine yourself 10 years from now, sitting somewhere peaceful, looking back at this exact moment. Will you be grateful that you took these words seriously? Or will you regret that you listened, felt inspired for a few hours, and then returned to old patterns? because that is what usually happens.